Blessa and I are working together to do a massive giveaway in this video, so be sure to stay tuned for details. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. So I think I'm sounding a little bit less sick than I was in my last video, hopefully. We're kicking off February, or actually, depending on when this goes up, this might be the second video of February. I honestly don't know. We're doing a fat acceptance reaction video today. We are kicking it old school, doing that because I went and saved preemptively a bunch of TikToks when I thought that we were losing TikTok in the US. And so I have an archive now. That being said, some of these might be older, but we will cross that bridge if we get there. That's all I have to say. So let's just get into it.
Let's talk about fat positive influencers becoming weight loss influencers. Now, I made a video about this and for some weird reason, TikTok posted it, but like 50-minute long version where the 2-minute video I filmed just played over and over again. I can't recover it, so let's just do it again. So yeah, I think there are a lot of people talking on this app at the moment about like their favorite fat positive influencers becoming weight loss influencers. And here's the thing, I don't think that people have a problem with fat people losing weight. The reality is if you are fat, you know that that makes sense because the world is nicer to thin people. So, you know, that's fine. I don't think any of us resent that. I think what people resent is people who had previously created a space that was separate from diet culture, that maybe was a safe place for them, a place where people said that they had figured out a way to accept their bodies and to love themselves in a fat-phobic society and to not base their worth on their size, to then pivot to talking about how people should lose weight, how they hated themselves before, how they finally started to value themselves and then they got healthy. That's what people resent, because the reality is that if you are out there and you are saying that like body positivity, body neutrality, body acceptance, fat positivity, like whatever you want to call it, however you are approaching it, if you are out there talking about that and then one day you say, actually, that wasn't real and I hated myself the whole time and it's only because I hadn't figured out a way to lose weight, and I think at the moment it's because suddenly like a lot of people are taking the jabs and now they're like, oh look, now I've lost weight, actually I can tell you that it was crap, then I never really believed what I was telling you and you should lose weight too, otherwise you're not worth anything. That's the problem, right? And as someone who's recently lost weight because of some health stuff and not insignificant amount of weight, I can tell you that I feel no different about myself. I feel no different about fat people. I feel no different about the treatment of fat people. I feel no desire to tell you what I've done or how much weight I've lost, or to turn this into a TikTok about how you should lose weight too. I don't feel more valuable. I don't feel more worthy. I don't feel more lovable or likable, like none of that stuff. I feel completely neutral about losing weight, and that is because I've actually done the work that these people are pretending that they've done but actually haven't done, but are selling you on, are telling you that you could do. And so what I want you to know is that not all of us are lying. I am not lying to you about this. Like, accepting your body, being okay in your body, feeling neutral about being fat is entirely possible for you. It is not a lie. It is not something that every single one of us is telling you is possible so that we can get your views or whatever. And then as soon as something comes along that can make us not fat, then we'll jump on that and we'll tell you that actually that was all a lie, because it's not a lie. It's not, I promise. Some people are clearly disingenuous or they're carried away with themselves, but it is true that you can feel okay about being fat. And I don't want this kind of trend of fat positive people talking about weight loss to undo the work that you've done yourself, or to undo your sense that it is possible to live a happy and fulfilling life where you like yourself in a fat body.
I think it's really funny watching people who make fat activism content like kind of floundering now that a resource exists so that people, specifically women, honestly, can now lose weight that they've wanted to lose for a long time, but for some reason maybe haven't been able to. I think the response to this has been really, really interesting to watch in fat activism spaces. I have made a couple videos, and I'm probably going to title this video very similarly, called "People Are Losing Weight and Fat Activists Aren't Happy About It," since the era of Ozempic and Wegovy and stuff has started. And do I think there have been some negative things that have come from that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Whether they have used these drugs or not, I think what we're seeing now, and I've talked about this before, is that a lot of the people who made content in this space for a long time, in terms of being like fat activists, fat acceptance, whatever, are now getting older and are now like experiencing the repercussions of carrying extra body weight. And I'm saying this as a fat person. I need that disclaimer in every video. I am fat. Like, I had weight loss surgery 6 years ago. I am still fat. Like, don't worry about it. This is just my experience from going from above 300 pounds to below 200 pounds to some now I'm like in the mid 200s. Okay. I still believe that weight loss, if you do it the right way, and I can say that people probably aren't doing it the right way with Ozempic and things like that. But when you do it the right way, it does help your health, okay? And we're going to talk about this with another one that I have saved. But it's been so interesting to watch the reaction to people now, like finally losing the weight that they've probably wanted to lose for a while. And I think I follow some of these creators who were fat positive, fat acceptance creators who have now lost weight since with Ozempic or whatever, maybe. Some of them haven't talked about it, which I do think they owe their audience that transparency, but some of them haven't talked about it. But the ones who have talked about it all have said that they have experienced some kind of health complication or health issue, kind of like this creator was insinuating too. And so I think their weight loss probably has more to do with that than it does just because the world is nicer to thin people, which, do I think there's some truth to that sentiment? Yes. I'm not denying that. I have experienced all sides of the coin, okay? I do think that society is generally kinder to thin people, and I have never denied that, okay? But do I think that it gets blown out of proportion in the fat acceptance space? Yes. I think it's more nuanced of a conversation than people are mean to you if you're fat, people are nicer to you if you're thin. I think it's a way more nuanced conversation than that, and that's it. Touching on the topic of now they're being mean to fat, like their audience that they built and whatever, or like talking down to their audience that they built off of body positivity and fat acceptance. In the ones that I have followed, I have never seen them talk down on fat people. I've only ever seen them talk about their own personal experience with their weight and what it did to their body, what it did to their psyche, everything like that, and what inspired them to lose the weight. This is why I keep talking about this, because the reason you choose to lose weight or you don't choose to lose weight, those are such personal things. And do I think that influencers owe their audiences some sort of transparency as to how they're losing weight? Yes, especially if it's with weight loss medication and things like that. Like, their audience needs to know how they're doing it, so that if they start doing what their favorite influencer is doing, they need to know that their favorite influencer is also using an extra tool besides diet and exercise, right? I've only ever seen them talk about their own personal experiences with their health and with their weight. I've never seen them talk down to their audience or whatever. And I think a lot of the responses that we're seeing to previous fat activist creators losing weight, or just body positive creators losing weight, I think a lot of the responses we're seeing to that are just projection. It's okay. You can do what you want. And that's also why I keep talking about this too, is as someone who is a feminist, is like almost as left as you can get, like, I hate how they take the bodily autonomy, especially because it's such a woman-saturated part of the internet, right? I hate how they take anybody's bodily autonomy to do anything, like lose weight, and they're like, nope, you can't do that, you can't talk about it, or else you're fat phobic. Like, that's so backwards to me, because a lot of them also identify, actually all of them pretty much, identify as leftists, as feminists, as whatever, and so I just don't understand why the conversation surrounding bodies exists at all. And I might be perpetuating that issue, but I like to never talk about these creators' bodies. I never talk about that. I only talk about what they are saying, and because to me that's more important. I think things just change and people can change their mind, and that's okay, especially when it comes to your health and your own life. That's okay. on to the next one. But before we get into the rest of today's video, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Bellesa. Now, Bellesa has been a longtime friend of the channel, but if you don't know who or what they are a by women company for all things sexual wellness. Bellesa's main mission is to empower everybody to explore, embrace, and celebrate their sexuality. And with Valentine's Day approaching, whether or not you are celebrating with someone else or just celebrating yourself, Bellesa is bound to have something for you. Last time I talked about Bellesa, I talked about their new Whisper Bullet, which featured their new Whisper technology, but now they have added 2 new toys to the Whisper line, the Whisper Rabbit and the Whisper Vibe. Both still feature Bellesa's new Whisper tech, which makes it so that you never need to choose between power and discretion. You can put your pleasure first without having to worry about waking up the whole house, okay? Even though they are quiet, they are still mighty, so you will not be sacrificing impact for just the sake that they're quieter either. And both the Rabbit and the Vibe offer 6 different vibration speeds and are made of body-safe silicone, and they're also waterproof. And just to show you how silent they actually are, let's just give it a whirl, shall we? Just so you know, it's going. They're genuinely both so quiet, I don't know how they do it. And lucky for you guys, I am doing a giveaway with Bellesa. Everyone who signs up wins a free Whisper Vibe or a free Rose toy with any Whisper purchase. Click the link in my description and grab your new Vibe. The big question is, they'll stay silent, but can you? Use the link down below in my description to sign up for that giveaway and let me know what you got because I'm nosy. So yeah, whether you are shopping the new Whisper line or any of the other great toys that Bellesa has to offer on their websites, they are bound to have something for you, again, to celebrate Valentine's Day, because you do not need a partner to celebrate Valentine's Day, okay? And they have everything for if you have a partner or if you don't. So yeah, thank you so much to Bellesa for sponsoring today's video, and as always, thank you so much to you guys for continuing to interact with my content so that brands like Bellesa want to keep working with me. Okay, now let's get back into the reaction.
Do you know them? No.
For people who are just listening, it's that sound with X+ size creators who think their thinness makes them morally superior, and the sound is like, do you know them? And she goes, no, and then she's putting on lip gloss and like acting and like looking snobby. Anyways, again, this goes back to the first one, and I have never seen, maybe Remy Bader, I can understand it with her. Maybe. It's a big maybe. I have not watched enough of her content since she started losing weight to know, okay? Other than that, anybody that I've seen who has lost weight and was a fat activist creator, a body positivity creator, I have never gotten any sense of moral superiority from them, okay? I've never gotten that. If anything, I've seen them start empathizing with fat people even more when they lose weight. Like, I think that was my experience too, was like, oh my God, like, people really did treat me differently when I was bigger, and that was like a weird thing to have to come to terms with and whatever. And I've seen a lot of other creators who have lost weight in that same mindset now. Yeah, I've never gotten a sense of moral superiority from any of them, and I really just think, again, that this is just projection of other insecurities. And yeah, that's all I really had to say about this one, but I just wanted to put it in conjunction with the first one that we talked about.
Okay, is there a pipeline of people who grew up fat and are still fat that are like known to the people around them, like friends and people you just meet, as like very, very friendly? Or like they're so nice, they can get along with everybody. She's a people person. She's super talkative. Yes, I'm referring to myself, because you grew up having to be the nice person because it was easier to be nice than it was to be fat. And most people aren't going to be mean to somebody who's being extremely nice to them. So it was almost like my defense mechanism was to be extra nice so that somebody couldn't be mean intentionally. Then you get older and you question if you actually are a nice person or if it's just so inherent in you to be nice because you don't want somebody to be mean to you. I don't know, is this too niche?
Okay, so I put this one in here because I actually agree with it, right? There are, and I haven't talked about ones that I have agreed with in a long time, and there are quite a few fat activism TikToks, fat acceptance TikToks that I do agree with, as just from my lived experience, right? And this is 100% one of them. Do I think that I'm from a family of caretakers and people pleasers and things like that, and so it wasn't just my weight that made me feel like I had to be nice to people. It was just how I was raised, all of that. Yes, like there's more. I think there are more things that contribute to that inherent need to be nice, especially amongst women. That is just a societal thing. Like, I think there's more to it than just being fat. But I will say, any person I have met who was once fat and then lost weight, especially if they got down to like a quote unquote normal range or whatever, one thing that we have always bonded over is that, oh, like now we feel hot, right? But we also have a great personality because we had to have one when we were bigger. And I've talked about this before in other videos. It was in response to TikTok that Fierce Fat Femme made about how growing up fat like kind of shapes you as a person. She used it in a way saying that it was traumatic and it gave her like PTSD and things like that. I'm not one to question mental health diagnoses. I do think there is such a thing as big T trauma and little T trauma. And I did agree that to an extent, growing up fat, being different in any way is little T traumatic, right? And so I do think that growing up fat, especially a fat girl, you do feel the need, at least I did, to overcompensate by being really, really nice, and really funny maybe, in order to not get made fun of. I've only been made fun of because of my weight in my life twice, I think. Neither of them were really that serious. One of them kind of was, but I was in 5th grade, so whatever. As I got older and stuff in high school, like I was treated really, really well. I was generally, and I still pride myself on being a kind person because I don't think the world has enough of that at all. And so it's not even a weight thing for me anymore. It's just like, I like being nice to people. But I do think for a long time, it was kind of a coping mechanism. It was a defense mechanism. And this was something that I worked through in therapy, a lot. And yeah, I still think I maybe use it as a defense mechanism because I do not know what I look like anymore, and I still think I am a lot bigger than I actually am. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's just like I do still feel the need to like overly cope with being nice to people, especially since I have gained weight back after having weight loss surgery. I have found me going back into old coping mechanisms, old defense mechanisms. And now that I'm older, I can catch myself and be like, Megan, we don't need to do that. But when I was younger, I definitely did. And so I was like really happy that I found this TikTok because I do think it is something that a lot of fat people or even formerly fat people can relate with, is that we always felt the need to be funny or overly nice or both, just so people would treat us like people and not be mean to us, especially when we were younger. And so if you've ever felt like that, you are not alone. And I wanted to include that one in here for that reason, because I think it's a really, really interesting conversation to have. I could probably make a whole video on that topic, to be honest. Let me know if you want that. I don't know. And this is the last one for this video, so let's just get into it.
Form of discrimination that's
All right.
fat phobia is the last form of discrimination that's widely accepted, and it's everywhere. Unlike racism, sexism, and homophobia, fat phobia is rarely called out or addressed. In fact, it's so ingrained in our society that it's considered normal, and that needs to change. Look at the media. Fat characters are often portrayed as jokes or villains, lazy, unhealthy, and deserving of ridicule. These stereotypes are reinforced in movies, TV shows, advertisements, and they shape the way that society views fat people. In the workplace, fat people face discrimination in hiring, promotion, and even day-to-day treatment. Studies show that fat people are paid less, passed over for promotions, and we even face more criticism for our work, simply because of our size. But fat phobia, it's not just an individual issue, it's systemic. From healthcare to education, from fashion to transportation, fat people face barriers that are built into these systems. And until we challenge these systems, things will never change. Fat phobia is the last acceptable form of discrimination because society has normalized it. But it's time we change that. The Fat Equality Bill of Rights is the first step in making fat phobia as unacceptable as any other form of bigotry. So learn more. If you're ready for fat phobia or anti-fatness to be eradicated, go ahead and check out the Fat Equality Bill of Rights. You can check it out at change.org/fatequality.
Okay, I'm making this face because I had not gotten to the part about the Fat Phobia Bill of Rights, or the Fat Equality Bill of Rights, or whatever. So we'll talk about that. Maybe I'll make a whole video going into that. That might be a thing. So this is from Jaebae, and I have a whole video planned on Jaebae, okay? I have a whole video planned because she's using GoFundMe to like fund things that very much don't need a GoFundMe, but well, we're gonna get there. I know I'm late to the game on that one, but I have it planned, so don't worry. This kind of content, it was posted January 6th from American fat activists, will never not piss me off now. This kind of content now from American fat activism creators, especially fat activist creators of color like Jaebae is gonna piss me off a lot more now, because oh my god, is this the last thing that we have to worry about right now in America? Holy shit. And I think I am just emotional about everything that's happening, and I think I always will be, because I don't agree with any of it. But the thing that's always bothered me about the equating of fat phobia to things like homophobia and racism is that if you feel so affected by the way that you are treated in society as a fat person, you can change that about yourself. You know what I can't change about myself? I can't change my sexual orientation. My friends can't change their transness, okay? Or their race. Like, you can't change those things about yourself. Is it a tough pill to swallow that you may have to change things about yourself because you are no longer literally fitting into society? Yeah, it is a hard pill to swallow. It sucks. I get it. But I do think that there comes a certain point where it's like, okay, these things that like are normally very easy to do are becoming harder due to my weight and nothing else. And what's one thing I can control? My weight, right? And that was a conversation I had to have with myself before I had weight loss surgery. When I did my history of fat activism and things like, and body positivity, I came across the fact that there was fat activism, right? And then there was another like subsection of fat activists that were more radical and more like feminist and things like that, where they also subscribed to the idea of, I think, radical psychology, I think it was. And the whole, I'll have that video linked down below. I'm really proud of it. Please go watch that video. I liked that video a lot. And the whole premise of radical psychology was that you should not have to change to fit society. Society should have to change you, or change to fit you. And I think and this was all in like the 60s. And I think it's so interesting how that same message has stayed the same until 2025. Right now, I just think that there are so many other things that fat activists could be using their platform to talk about, especially those of them especially the ones that are in America, because what is happening in America right now is abhorrent. I am not surprised that any of it is happening because we were literally told that this was what was going to happen, and people didn't choose to believe it, but it's happening. And there are more pressing things to talk about. Does that mean that you should give up other things that you are passionate about? No. I think it's important that we still stay ourselves as individuals, but I think that right now, there are just much bigger fish to fry. And so seeing this posted in January, was it before the inauguration? Yes. But the equivalency has always made me mad, but now it's making me even more mad. And it's frustrating me even more, because it is just such a you cannot compare those two right now. You never really could, but especially not right now. And yeah, so that's it. That's all I have to say. My battery is about to die, so I'm gonna go before it cuts me off. But yeah, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Leave a green heart emoji if you made it this far. And yeah, thank you to Balesa for sponsoring today's video. If you enter the giveaway, let me know what you got, truly, because I want to know, because I'm nosy and I like people using that code, because I think it's something that I think sexuality is something that everybody should celebrate. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, drink your water, take your meds if you need them, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.